has some interesting ideas and heart towards what's driving his artwork. So we're going to talk about that. I'm excited because I just found out that the Hunter Museum has created a poetry reading room, and they're having live poet readings there, and they're promoting this spoken word as true art in Chattanooga right at the Hunter Museum, and I'm super excited about that. I'm also a writer, as far as poetry goes. It's kind of a sideline for me, something I do and then toss in the file cabinet or the file on the computer and don't revisit so often. But I actually have 2 books at this point of poetry, so it's close to my heart, and I'm really excited that the Hunter is stepping up to the plate and talking about poetry as a part of the arts here in Chattanooga, and realizing that that part of the arts is connected to society. And actually they focus on making a safe place where artists can talk about things they may feel uncomfortable sharing through their poetic words in a normal situation. So it's a safe place too to express themselves. So I'm definitely going to visit that, and I didn't see any information about when in the article, so you can contact the Hunter Museum on that if you're interested. I know I am. So I was thinking about taking this time, other than introducing my guest here, Mike Rowe, before we get too far off the poetry. I'm going to read a poem for you guys. I recently moved, and I'm near a railroad track, and I love it, actually. Some people don't like that, but I find it fascinating. And Christmas Eve, everything kind of shifted in the world, as it always does. And I knew the moment I realized what I'll tell you at the end of this poem, I knew this poem was already done in my head somehow. So it's called Silent Night. And let me hear. Silent night. The trains are silent. No whistles blow. Sorry, I'm trying to get started over because I can't get this thing the right size to read. There we go. Silent night. The trains are silent. No whistles blow. The night settles slowly. Somewhere it snows. Iridescent stars dance to the beat. Silence is golden. Reality speaks. Christmas has come in splendor and glory. The whole world stands still, fashioning the story. The hobo huddles by a lonely fire, heart heavy with dreams and regret. Living life day by day, nothing is set. The windows reflect multiple views, hearts for a moment embracing the Jew. Judgment surrenders, flying a white flag, yet staring down the tracks, alone some still lag. The sidecar canvas, the rhythm, the clock, the whistle a warning, tick-tock, tick-tock. So that was, I noticed on Christmas Eve that the trains stopped running. It was silent. The tracks were silent until the day after Christmas in the morning. And it was a very powerful feeling for me that the whole world does stop in a sense. Some of us have to go to hospitals and work and this sort of thing. But the silence of the movement of this country's commerce stops. And it was quite remarkable. So I hope you enjoyed that. So now my guest here is Mike Rowe. He's fallen in love with Chattanooga. I'll let him kind of introduce himself and tell you about what he's got going on, which is connected to a lot to the waterways, nature, and the way that Michael is building his creations and pieces is very interesting. So Mike, you can say hello to everybody and kind of give us a little overview of what you're doing.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Joe. My name's Mike Rowe. I have been a collector of, shall we say, natural things my whole life. Most notably, rocks and minerals, specimens. I literally have tons of material stored up at my mom's up north. Didn't bring a whole lot of it with me. I just came down here to be warm, and I certainly am. The 60 some odd balmy degrees today, and all the beautiful scenery that Chattanooga has to offer in this whole greater tri-state area. When I came here, I just was drawn to both the mountain and the river and the lake, and have always been drawn to the beauty of nature and the one thing I noticed, though, is I started collecting things here that they seem to belong together, whether they were from the waterways or the mountain. Some of the pieces, if you will, rock or driftwood or whatever was offered me, sometimes man-made, seem to have a place together. And the more time I spent here out in nature, the more of man's flotsam and waste and debris that I encountered, and began this process of not only collecting natural pieces of beauty, but bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of man's discard. And one thing led to another, and now I'm kind of incorporating some of man's along with nature in sculpture. And I really would like to raise awareness for how important our waterways are, not only here in Tennessee, but globally. And I've, been able to partner with a local charity and awareness group that works both here in Tennessee and in the Caribbean to facilitate that.
So again, here's an artist that reaching into society. Art is not a separate part of life or society. It all flows together. And so instead of, I'm just going to create this is something you see in nature, pieces of wood or rocks and things that go together and look often like something distinct, a creature or a person or a thing. And the combination of them, for you seems to be a natural flow, but the heart of it comes from love of beauty, the love of art. And then number two, the love of this earth and the waterways and taking care of our earth. And that's, again, art, society, art. They are partners. They go together. So now you're also on the board at the MAC. That's the Mountain Arts Community Center.
Yes.
And that's on Signal Mountain. And they offer a huge amount of services concerning art. So can you kind of tell the listeners, Mike, what services are happening up at the MAC?
Oh, Barb Storm, the director, and her amazing, able, and willing staff, and really kind of comprehensive roster of instructors and artists who have a spirit not only for sharing, but for the arts in the local area and on the mountain. We offer courses and classes from everything from baking to all the stringed instruments and everything in between.
And the building's a historical building. It's a lovely building with just charm and character up on the mountain. So I know that that is an important historical point in Signal Mountain, and it's important to the community. And I know also that the MAC is working very hard to maintain and keep that property with these wonderful classes and events going on. And there's the art gallery up there. It's a constant change of artists, local artists, beautiful work, and a very active gallery up there, which what's the name of the gallery?
It's Gallery 5.
Gallery 5. Mm-hmm. Not enough coffee blank there. So really supporting local artists all the time. And, like Mike said, the Barb Storm is amazing. And the people up there care. They care about the kids. They care about the community. They love the arts. And, again, it's all about their heart. It's not really a business to them. It's a life. This is their life. And the life of the mountain, and creating base for children to continue to educate themselves in the arts to complete their growth of their human structure and their mind. Without the arts, kids' minds are not getting everything we need to develop and to the intellectual beings we need to be when we're adults. So it's very important that we all support the movements concerning that.
Indeed.
So as far as your personal art, what age, as a child, were you interested in art? Did you do art? When did this endeavor, begin for you in your life?
I've always drawn. I remember drawing at really early ages, probably around kindergarten, 5 or 6. And about the same time, I started collecting rocks and minerals. That energy, the natural energy, took off and developed exponentially as a young person. By the time I was 7, I was full on collecting. By the time I was 9, I was making jewelry and tumbling stones. I
used to paint mine with nail polish, clear nail polish on my stones. I remember doing that so much as a kid, and it would make them so shiny and pretty.
You know, I think that's a really good example that it really doesn't, there's not the appreciation of natural beauty, and its facilitation and creative expression is not, there's no limit.
Exactly. There are those who would disagree with you, that, and that's one of the reasons I was excited about bringing up the hunter and the poetry, because the art beat of Chattanooga, some wonder why I am interested in interviewing beyond the visual arts, and it's because it's all art, writing, poetry, comedy, acting, dance, so many things are art. Now, I'm not going to say like anything is art, oh, here's this mouse, this is art. There was definitely creative process in involving it in drawings and everything like that. It's kind of a part of everything. You don't even think about it. Like somebody had to draw this design, either on the computer or on paper. So it's everywhere. But, I'm talking about the actual active cultural arts in Chattanooga that's alive and brimming, and surrounding communities of Chattanooga like Signal Mountain and Lookout Mountain, etc. So, so you've been a little vague about what you're doing with your work. Can you describe a piece? I know we don't have, I kind of surprise come on the show. So, we don't have pieces here.
My appearance was very serendipitous this morning.
Yeah. So, can you describe something that you've created, or two that are your favorite things, and maybe paint an image with words of what that piece is and what it means?
Yeah, certainly. I guess the easiest one to describe is the one that's foremost in my mind right now, and it just keeps coming up while you've been speaking here in the last moment. It's the working title of it's Balance. It's a really conspicuous, started with a conspicuous piece of driftwood that I found, like that, I knew it was remarkable, but at first it was just, okay, so it's a remarkable piece of driftwood. I didn't have a vision for it. It's just, when these pieces come to me, I just have a strong impression of their importance. Very, very seldom do I have a vision for the whole sculpture when I first encounter the piece. They kind of take on a life of their own.
Yeah, that's art. Welcome to art. It does that. We can intend on something, but it's going to evolve and morph its own energy.
So some of the sculpture had already been presenting itself to me. Sometimes I kind of understand it. A lot of times I just kind of go with the vibe of what feels right, or what looks right, or what's speaking to me or somebody else. This particular piece, I mated it up with at least a half a dozen different large, smallish boulders, if you will. Also most of them from the lake or the river, a couple from the mountain, and none of them seemed to be just quite right. And then one day I was upriver at a local park and swimming and just relaxing in the shade and in the water, and letting the cool, cleansing waters of the river embrace me. And I happened to look over and I saw the rock that the driftwood was supposed to go with, and I set it up on it. It's kind of a 90-degree or right angular kind of piece of driftwood. It has kind of a serpentine feature going along what is now the left side of the piece, and then the right side of the piece is fairly linear but splits into two as a fork. And so I set it up on a serpentine upright, so the fork was directly upright, and it kind of sat like that for weeks. And it was on my kitchen table because I felt an energy and a closeness to the piece enough I brought it inside instead of just down in the studio. And then one day of all things, one of my cats was being rambunctious, and I wasn't paying attention. I was cleaning, and the next thing I know, it had bumped a piece, and it had tilted up on its apex or angle, if you will, and formed essentially a V and was balanced on its own. And it dawned on me that's what was missing in the piece for weeks, was it needed to be in balance. And then one thing led to another, and up in upstate New York, I was gifted with a couple of really weathered, probably decades old, hard knots that balanced on each end of the piece. And now it has, I don't know if it's finished yet, but it has kind of a balanced life all its own.
So that's nice. So it's got a history, and it's got a title. So, you know, this work is evolving for you all the time, it sounds like. And, you know, parts of, like any artist, you know, all the way from our childhood comes into play in our adult life with our creative work. And it's all together working in our brain and brains of people in society to interact back and forth in society. Like, this piece is coming from Tennessee and New York and things like this, and then coming together. It reminds me of how in Chattanooga, you meet people from everywhere, you know, people from New York, people from the West Coast, people from Maine, you know, anywhere.
People from Germany and India and China
Yes.
and Japan and Mexico.
Yes, everywhere. And it's like art is kind of like that, where converging over time, all these ideas and impressions and experiences come together and come out as artwork and relating to society, hopefully, mostly. You know, so concerning the MAC, I mean, we're jumping back and forth, but you're on the board there, and there's a lot going on at the MAC, and they need support. You know, this show needs support. The arts need support in Chattanooga.
Yes.
We all need to stand up and, you know, be supportive of that. Go to attend what you can. There's so many free things going on in Chattanooga. You can go to JJ's on Wednesday night, and they rotate different comedies and improv and all kinds of things like that. You can go, I mean, the list of what's happening, JJ's Bohemia, there's music venues going on all over the place this weekend in Chattanooga. All you have to do is Google Chattanooga Fun or Chattanooga Arts, and you can find something to do. Theater, dance, belly dance classes and studios, and that is an art. Believe me, those ladies, it's an art form, and it's lovely. So you can really find anything here. And again, we got Art 120 coming on, hopefully later. Hannah Hahn's supposed to join us, and she's having some vehicle difficulties, so we'll see how that goes. But things like that, where Art 120 reaches out into the community, works with children, nonprofit organizations that work with kids all over this city, giving their time, getting donations, giving donations, reaching into the lives of these children and making a difference and an impact, which will change their future. So that's really part of the heartbeat of my show, The Art Beat of Chattanooga. And if you have this sort of event going on, like the Heart Gallery supporting all of this and the MAC supporting the community through the arts, I'm interested in having you share that on my show. So you can just message us on Facebook here at the station, and we'll cover that with you. You know, I'll get you in here and we'll talk about what you have to offer Chattanooga. And, you know, I know part of the heartbeat of your work, Michael, is to do with, as you talked about, cleaning up the waterways, making people aware of what they throw out. It gets wrapped around a bird's foot, causes death of animals, death of fish, injury to humans and animals. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons to just clean up our stuff before we go. Don't just toss it out. So that's part of, I know, what's driving you with this, from what you're sharing, of collecting bags of things, trash,
bags
basically.
and bags and bags. And, you know, and it's not we're human, you know, we don't live in a,
well, I'm half betazoid, but whatever.
well, we don't live in a perpetually perfect environment. You know, it's more what I would like to bring to the forefront of consideration is mindfulness rather than, you know, a preoccupation or paranoia.
Right. We don't want to. Yeah. And I think that's what is so cool about, you know, how your artwork can reach into society and impact people, that if they're going to go out to the little beach here in Chickamauga or whatever, instead of leaving your pop top thingies there, take them with you. Don't just toss that stuff in the water.
Yeah, I find almost every day I find the old pop tops from like 4
hopefully
years ago.
Pretty soon you won't be able to find anything.
Yeah, right.
Well, thank you for joining us for this first half of the show. I'll be back in a little bit. The Heartbeat of Chattanooga. I'm your host, Jillian Collins, and I hope you have a great day and help keep our earth clean.
Good job.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240. There's a reason why Alliance Physical Therapy is the choice of professionals and those who care about first-class, top-notch service and treatment. Because at Alliance Physical Therapy of Chattanooga, we don't just treat the symptoms in your body. Whether you're suffering from stiffness, muscle spasms, back pain, chronic headaches every day, stress of life demanding more and more of you, Alliance Physical Therapy takes a holistic approach to healing mind, body, and soul. Alliance Physical Therapy with a location near you and 9 others in the Chattanooga area. If you don't have a doctor or if your physician's plan for chronic pain is not working, Alliance Physical Therapy will help. Visit Alliance Physical Therapy on the web at nopainpt.com. That's nopainpt.com. Alliance Physical Therapy.
Our house in the middle of our street.
Hi, I'm Sabrina with Sabrina Realty Associates. Now is a great time to sell your home. In our area, inventory is at an all-time low, which translates into higher sales prices. Call us today at 423-499-7780 to set up a free consultation and discuss our unique and aggressive marketing programs. We will provide you with a free market analysis to determine the right value of your home. Call us today at 423-499-7780 or visit our website at SabrinaRealty.com.
Our house in the middle of our street. Our house.
What? Oh no, I can't believe my phone screen is cracked. I cracked it. I can't believe my screen is cracked. I need my phone.
Whoa. Slow down, wild man. We've got an easy solution. Cell Surgeon in Ottawa. Your cell phone repair doctor is on the job. Cell Surgeon in Ottawa. Check out our brand new location. Just off I-75, Old Lee Highway next to Zaxby's. That's right, your cell doctor in Ottawa, Cell Surgeon, most of the time can fix your smartphone on the spot. Your cell phone repair doctor is on the job. Cell Surgeon in Ottawa. Check out our brand new location. Just off I-75, Old Lee Highway next to Zaxby's. Cell Surgeon for all your cell needs. Most repairs are performed in less than an hour. TheCellSurgeon.com. Go to TheCellSurgeon.com.
Daisy, get my cell phone out of your mouth right now.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you'll make all year.
Wars come and go, but my soldiers stay eternal.
Now you can listen to Hot News Talk Radio anywhere streaming live at Noogaradio.com. That's Noogaradio.com.
Hot News Talk 1240.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Your marriage is over. You've been abandoned, betrayed. You're angry, shattered, and heartbroken. Don't go it alone. When you are facing divorce, you need an experienced advocate to help protect your rights in future. And you need it from a man with a sympathetic heart, but a hard nose. Attorney Clay Whitaker will fight for you in this most confusing and bitter time in your life. Clay Whitaker, 756-6400. Your marriage is over. You've been abandoned, betrayed. You're angry, shattered, and heartbroken. Don't go it alone. When you are facing divorce, you need an experienced advocate to help protect your rights in future. And you need it from a man with a sympathetic heart, but a hard nose. Attorney Clay Whitaker will fight for you in this most confusing and bitter time in your life. Clay Whitaker, 756-6400.
Expect mild and spring-like weather out there through your afternoon. Lots of clouds, but looking dry. Highs mid and upper 60s. Tonight, some fog and drizzle possible. Otherwise, lows lower to middle 50s. For Friday, just a slight chance of a spotty shower. Mainly dry, upper 60s. Continue dry and pleasant for the weekend. This forecast is brought to you by the USA Network. Don't miss the return of Colony, an original drama from Carlton Cuse, tonight at 10/9 Central, only on the USA Network. And I'm Smart Machine 12's Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
News Talk 1240.
Downtown Chattanooga's home for news, talk, and sports. Nooga Radio 101.1 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. My name is Jillian Collins, your host, local artist. I've got my Marilyn Monroe print back here. She's kind of my personal icon. I don't know why. She's just super, super cool. I'm reading her biography, so that's awesome too. So we're glad you're joining us today. We had a good first half speaking with local artist Michael Rowe, also a board member of the MAC, and that dealing with especially trash, human waste going into our waterways and forests and affecting the animal life, human life, all of that. So the drive there is to have a purpose, to have an effect on the awareness of people in the community, using nature, using the things he finds in nature and has been accumulating throughout life, gems and rocks and precious stones, along with amazing pieces of wood that can be anything, appear to be many, many things. So this is something you're going to see a lot more of. There's also already organizations dealing with this going on in Chattanooga. So just keep it in mind, when you're going to throw that thing out or leave it at the beach or whatever, don't, just take it home. Like I said, hopefully soon Mike will have nothing to pick up and use for that part of the sculpture and can just use the natural things, because we're all going to be so aware that it takes almost no effort for us to leave the beautiful world that we live in beautiful as when we found it. So I encourage you to really think about that. So got a guest on her way in, Hannah Hahn. Hopefully she's had a little bit of a rough morning, so she may come whisking in any minute here. She's from the Art 120 studio that burned completely out on Thanksgiving Day this year, leaving many local artists devastated and numb, losing their tools, their work, their kilns, what they've accumulated, many, many things, businesses that had a tea business in there. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it was more than just one business in there. Multiple people lost a lot. And there is an event coming up, again, a fundraiser for Art 120, and that's coming up tomorrow evening. So hopefully when Hannah gets here, I'm going to let her fill you in a little bit more on that. And I can tell you that, I just went through a situation where I had to be separated from my work. I had to very quickly relocate and put my stuff in storage. And it's been really amazing to, as I talked with Lee Fritsch last week about, he showed a painting and he says, I see a price on the back of it. So I said to everybody, well, this is also for sale. And he's like, well, and that is one of my biggest struggles, and selling my work or even getting it out of my home, because it seems egotistical to myself at times, but I love my work, and that's why I continue to do it. And it flows from a place inside where I want it to impact the other people, whoever views my work. I'm hoping to reach out and touch your heart and your spirit and have an effect on your life through that work. And it affects me. And as I put more and more up in my apartment, I am just energy that having my work around me gives me. So I understand Lee's hesitation to sell his work, but ultimately that is the goal, to have someone love a piece so much that they want to have it in their life and home. And that's the true satisfaction of a piece. That's the completion of the cycle of what we want to give, is that joy where this piece makes me feel good. I want it around me because it takes you to a place that you're not going to go to otherwise, you know, a thought or a feeling. So that's one of the really important aspects of art. Very important with children. Like I've talked about this a few times. I'm going to keep talking about it because it's important. And your kids, you'll notice if they're around 10 and they've been always drawing pictures and putting them on the fridge, they're probably not doing that so much around that age. They start to judge themselves. They look at other people's things. They're judging. Well, I was drawing the sun up in the corner all my life, and it's actually a big ball, and you may not even see the sun in the sky. I mean, I remember that moment when I realized that as a child. You know, you draw that picture. It's always a little quarter sun up in the air with the rays, and I remember the moment where it was like, oh my goodness, that doesn't look anything like reality, and that shifted my artwork. You know, and that's the point where your kids will get where they're realizing they've been drawing just what they want all these years. And then now they want to represent something more, and they have to have the techniques. They need to have the learning and the time to do it and the tools. So encourage your little artists to keep trying when they get to that I can't do it stage. And no pressure, you know, but just make sure things are available and that they understand the importance of it. And maybe take them to the Hunter Museum, let them tour the artwork there and just take that in as a child. You know, their brains can take that. So all of that, and to reach out in the community, find all these organizations that help kids. And I know Dion at Bessie Smith Cultural Center, she knows a lot about volunteering. Heart Gallery is always looking for volunteers. They go into Signal School, they go help disabled children and also adults. You know, the whole gallery is about helping challenged adults who have misfortunes of either disabilities or even seniors, homelessness, things like this. They reach into these people's lives and help them through allowing the creative process to flow through them. And it really changes lives. So there are many, many things we can do in this community to reach out and make a difference. So, you know, I mentioned the Hunter Museum, and that's another thing I'm super excited about because they're now having poetry room. And it sounds like it's very open to whatever you want to discuss, even if it may be uncomfortable for society. It's a safe place to go. And they're honoring and elevating the awareness of the poetic artists, you know, that writers are artists. I write poetry. I have a lot of poetry, and it's kind of something you can go to the store nowadays and barely find a poetry book. You know, it's just not like it was when I was in school and we read and studied a lot of the poets. And, you know, I mean, I also illustrated a book of poetry for Fred Ballou, the Poems from a Secret Garden. And that's a poetry book available on Amazon that is a current write. You know, this has been written over the last like 15 years and then illustrated over the last couple years. So it's combined energy and it's still happening. And that's what's so exciting about a Hunter, you know, lifting up and elevating poetry into Chattanooga and saying flat out that this is important in this community. We need this. We're going to elevate it. So, you know, I really encourage you to check that out as well. So my current work, you know, kind of talking about myself right now, current work, I've had to put it on hold, and I was kind of going over this being separated from my work thing. And David Tulis had a writer on earlier, and he mentioned the attic of his mind, that he goes to the attic and that's his mind. And I thought that was a powerful statement for an artist because so much of my work happens in my mind. You know, I need the technique and I need the time to get the paint on the canvas or draw or whatever, and learn, go to like Townsend Atelier and do the figure drawing classes and things like this. So, but you know, the mind is where this happens. And that's why it's so important to continue with our kids to work with them in this area, because it creates new avenues in your brain. You know, you're literally connecting the parts, connecting the dots, studying creation, studying colors, form. You know, when you look at a mountain, sometimes you're going to see, oh, I could do this or that. And it just triggers synapses in the brain. So it really actually, I believe, heightens it helps you to reach your full potential. So, not that I'm brilliant, let me tell you. You know, I've been doing art my whole life, and I don't think I'm a dummy, that's for sure. But, you know, I'm not saying that I could be president or something like that. But it definitely helps the creative avenues of your brain to reach new levels of thinking. Kind of like having your children do a lot of puzzles, so they don't do something I did, which was, and this is when I realized puzzles are so important. I put a dog kennel out when I had a dog breeding Bichon Frises, and it was a covered porch, and I had the door of the kennel like around outside. So when it was raining, I had to go out to that door to let the dogs in. And this is how, you know, silly it can be in life. It took me a while to realize all I had to do was turn that thing around. And it was right up against, you know, near the porch. So do the puzzles with your kids so they don't have to, you know, find out could face their dog kennel the other way because they're dashing out into the rain. And that's the kind of thinking that art can also help facilitate. Not the part where you're going to do it, but the part where you're not. So anyway, so here in Chattanooga this weekend, we still on First Fridays. We have First Friday going on. And I've been talking about Chattanooga Workspace, but I have discovered they are no longer a part of that. But they do have their 5th anniversary celebration going on. And that is quite a gala. Still worth visiting. Very, very wonderful space there with so many local artists that you can meet and so many types of art and genres you can see all at once like that. You know, that's a great thing. Oh, I got a phone call here. One moment, please. Hi. Oh, it's the answering machine. Okay. Try again if that's the caller. Sorry about that.
Calls will not be answered.
Now we got the telephone yelling at me here. So anyway, you know, the whole thing about the Art Beat of Chattanooga, and I keep saying this, if you're following my show and you're a musician, you're a dancer, you're in theater, you're a comedian, or something I am not listing, pottery. I haven't even had, other than Adam, who shoots clay with a gun and creates his creations, some of his creations that way. Adam Kirby, who is also part of 120, and he's been on the show a few times, and he literally fires shotguns at clay and creates these wonderful pieces that just have movement and explosive looks to them because of what he's doing. So, you know, that's all things that are happening around here. And the Hunter has, you know, constant shows, always changing, and they have a permanent show that is worth seeing as well. So, you know, you can go to that too. All right, we're going to try and answer this call this time. Hi, thanks for calling. This is Jill.
Hey, Jill. Hey, Jill, it's Hannah.
Well, hi, Hannah.
Hi.
Are you having fun yet?
I'm sorry I haven't been able to make it with the car trouble, but
I'm sorry
to call
about
in
that.
and say hello. I haven't even been able to listen to the show yet.
I'm sorry you're having that kind of day.
Yeah, well, you know, things do happen.
They do. They do. Well, at least you can call in because this way we can share about what is coming up with continuing coverage of, you know, what the artists and other business people with Art 120 are going through and how the Phoenix is rising. You know, you guys.
The Phoenix is rising. We're rising very strong and beautifully, I would say. We have a show, the Make Yourself Maine artists from the building and a few other friends have a show happening at AVA, the Association for Visual Arts, downtown in North Shore area tomorrow. It'll be open all day, but there's a specific auction that starts from 5:30 to 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. And then the show goes until the 27th of January. So that's awesome. And we also have 2 Ron White tickets for tomorrow night that are benefiting the Make Yourself Maine artists. If you're interested in that, please message our Facebook page or email edu@art120.org. Sorry. So that's edu@art120.org if you're interested in those.
So is that a auction type thing? Are they bidding on the tickets?
Yes.
Okay.
Please bid. It's just balcony seats, so it's not VIP or anything. But he's awesome and he's hilarious.
Wonderful.
Looking for a fun night out.
I hope I can
Ron White,
join you.
He'll be at the Tivoli tomorrow evening, and they are sold out, I believe. So this is a chance for you to get your hands on those.
That sounds like so much fun. I might have to take a look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
So tomorrow night, the Ava Association is supporting Art 120 through a show that's going to be up through the 27th of January.
Yes, ma'am.
And this
So it starts
show,
tomorrow.
the proceed, that's the grand opening tomorrow.
Yep, grand opening, and the proceeds from the art sales go directly to the artist. So
That's so
Ava's not
fantastic.
taking anything for that, so that's awesome of them. And we greatly appreciate them and everything. And then we have an Art 120 benefit happening the next day on Saturday the 14th. And it's going to be at Painting with a Twist, which is on Panorama Drive out near Hamilton Place. So they're awesome with partnering with us for that. And I actually work there part-time as well as an art instructor. And we'll be doing a special painting from 1 to 4 p.m. benefiting Art 120.
That is so awesome.
All
And
painting with our purpose, so that's super sweet.
yeah, I'm kind of bummed because my work weekend is pretty busy, and I'm going to try to make it to any part of these events that I can. And I hope y'all go out there. I'm very Ava for stepping up, because I know they are a nonprofit organization, and they could have art in there that's going to channel into their nonprofit causes, but they're choosing again to support other artists in Chattanooga. And I see this over and over where Chattanooga people are giving. And
it's amazing. Yeah, Rick Morris is the executive director over there, and he's awesome. And yeah, it's insanely cool how many people have
Lauren
reached out to us,
Goforth, and then
we couldn't do it without him. So
and then who does the media? I'm drawing a blank on his name. Zach.
He does
the media part of it downstairs, where you can shoot your artwork if you're a member for $20 an hour. You know, and they have the lighting set up and everything, and they give you a zip file of your pieces. So
oh yeah, they're awesome.
There's a lot going on at Ava. It's a great studio right on Fraser Avenue, right across the street from the Walgreens. There is where you can go see this work tomorrow and the rest through January 27th. Now, the piece that you posted on Facebook, I know everybody can't see that, but who is the artist?
That's me.
That's beautiful, Hannah. I looked at that piece and I just love it. I want to see it in person.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I just was like,
there's going to be a lot of awesome art there, including a Phoenix piece by myself.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I am definitely going to visit it. If I get off work on time, I'll be there tomorrow night, but otherwise I'm definitely going to go check it out. It sounds lovely.
Oh yeah, so there is a $5 cover for the auction tomorrow evening. There will be beverages and snacks and stuff there for you guys. But the show is, it's open to the public during Ava's normal hours until the 27th. So tomorrow is a little bit different tomorrow evening. But besides that, it's open for everybody.
Yeah, a lot of times Ava has a musician there too during the grand opening. Do you know if you're going to have music?
I don't want to speak to that because I'm not 100% sure. Adam Kirby, who's also an artist that was affected, he's kind of the one organizing it since I've got 2 other jobs going on. So he's been really gracious and awesome and is doing a great job. So that he would probably know that more so than I would. So I'm not sure, but you can go to their Facebook page and check out the Facebook event. It's on there.
It'll be festive.
Makers Self-Made Auction, something like that.
I'm sorry, I kind of spoke over that.
Say what?
I kind of spoke over when you said that. I'm sorry. But
it's cool. If there's any extra information that I haven't said, it should be on the Facebook event page for Ava, and the Makers Off Main Facebook page has it on there too.
Yeah, you can definitely Google this and find it so easily. And again, downtown, it's warm. We're having kind of a balmy January right now. Down there and go see the show. Maybe go on the ghost tours, which I'm wanting to do very soon.
Oh yeah,
and learn about all the haunted places in Chattanooga. I just think that's fascinating, and I can't wait to go do it. But I'm waiting till it's a little bit warmer, somewhere between cool and hot.
Yeah. Definitely the history of Chattanooga is super cool. We're going to be Art 120 is Red Bank Elementary this semester. We've been working with Howard recently, and we're going to be kind of pushing forward with different projects for those kids and awesome students over there. So we're excited, and we're going to try to implement that kind of history of Chattanooga, awesomeness, I guess,
yeah.
in there. So I'm excited.
That's a way to get kids interested in history right there. It's not just numbers. This is real stuff. This is our city. And is this something you still need volunteers for helping with this sort of thing that you're doing, where you're reaching out to the community and to the kids?
Oh, yes.
So they can also contact Makers at Maine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you want to help out, you want to get in there hands-on and meet these wonderful kids that Art 120 has been helping and continues to help, even though They have lost their entire building in a horrible 3-alarm fire. And like I said, leaving them numb and devastated. And yet the phoenix is rising. These Hannah and Adam and some of the other people, Hannah, that you know their names, you guys are just not giving up. You're fighting, continuing to have fundraisers.
Yeah, you got to be positive, right? You got to keep moving forward.
And we say that, I just want the public to understand when we say the money goes directly to the artists, it's actually going to Art 120, it's to rebuild a nonprofit organization that reaches into our community. It's not like, oh, we're just giving these people money. This has got a purpose. This is art with a purpose. Right. So I'm so glad you called in though, Hannah, and love and energy to your car. I give my little Lexi occasional pats, nice girl, behave, and when she doesn't, it's not so good. So I'm really glad you could get the time to call in and share about tomorrow night with the grand opening at Ava on Fraser, supporting the artists from Art 120 that went through the 3-alarm fire on Thanksgiving, destroying a beautiful, actually, building and affecting many, many people in Chattanooga. And yet they're rising. The phoenix is rising. So come and see Hannah's work. I can't wait to see the phoenix. And I love the one you posted on Facebook. So I'm super excited. And I want to continue to support you guys and, follow you and give you some more yoga mats to sell, original painted yoga mats. And so that's it for the Art Beat of Chattanooga today. Thank you, Hannah. You have an awesome rest of your day. And I'll hopefully see you tomorrow night. Go out and see this art show. Everybody support Art 120. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye, Hannah.